And we are live here for day 2 of Quad City Chaos 2016 from the bunker at Toronto Roller Derby. My name is Pink Slaminade.
And my name is Senior Wiener.
And we're going to be calling this first game of the day the Queen City Roller Girls Sirens, the B
team. The
Sub-Zero
Sirens.
Sub-Zero Sirens from Queen City against Les Sexpos from Montreal Roller Derby.
Very good. And from the Queen City Sirens, we've got May bringing down the house, number 138. Number 27, that is Veggie Cowgirl. 4, Nick Nugget. 412, Chet Up Stand Up. We've got 505, Chicka Demolish. 51, Dana Skullcrusher. 64, Celery Stalker. 73, Rex Kitten. 8, Slamuel Jackson. Number 816, Double Barrel. 88, Jules Burns. 905, McCready. And 97, Brutalities. Pink will get into the Sexpos roster in just a moment because we've got the game going at the moment.
Yeah, lead jammer here going to number 961 from the Sexpos.
And it looks like they're on a power jam because Dana Skullcrusher, number 51 for the Sub-Zero Sirens, got sent to the box for a cutting the track penalty.
First scoring pass, points on the board for the Sexpos. That's a 5-point grand slam for number 961. Missing from Falafel Gazelle. Sub-Zero Sirens forming up in the front of this pack. And the sweep to the inside from the Sexpos. Another 5-point grand slam on the board.
It was very interesting seeing that the Sexpos went for the sweep on the inside, but the jammer just went right to the outside. They use that as a distractionary technique just as much as an offensive sweep.
Yeah, and a quick steal here. Initial pass completed by number 51 from Queen City. Another 4 points go on the board for the Sexpos. A 14-point jam for Falafel Gazelle.
And what a strong start for the Sexpos. Right now we've got Jules Burns on the jammer line for the Sub-Zero Sirens. And let's see, I can't quite read the name there.
Wearing the star for the Sexpos, Delilah Matrak. And a quick punch up the center for Matrak through the Sub-Zero defense, and she is your lead jammer from Montreal.
Jules Burns running into some trouble in the back of the pack. She gets knocked down to the inside and cycled back by number 86. That's Lady J.
Yeah, another scoring pass for Montreal. 5 points on the board for Matrak. And Jules Byrne getting taken to the inside of turn 1. A little confusion as penalties being assessed here. And that is a
illegal
procedure for Jules Byrne. Means another power jam for the Sexpos. Second power jam in 2 jams.
Oh, and it looks like Julia Caesar signaled a second penalty for him. Maybe the illegal procedure was the second penalty. I'm looking at the board right now to see what's coming up for that because she'll be sitting for a full minute. It looks like we've got an out of play. There's a P on the board and an illegal procedure.
This is a lot of momentum here for the Sexpos. A rough start for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
We've got
Dalila Matak pushing against 2 more of the Sirens' defense.
Pulling them out of play, making Chicka Demolish and Nick Nugget release them. The pack is at a standstill since Montreal has a minute to work on this power jam. There's a big hit by Chicka Demolish, knocking her down. And she is getting, and La Matark is getting sent to the box for a cutting the track penalty. Chicka Demolish hit her out, fell down, but she must have come in front of another Sub-Zero Siren. So now the power jam is in favor of the Sub-Zero Sirens, and we'll see what Jules Byrne can do.
Jules Byrne trying to follow her offense here, but hit to the infield yet again. She's able to...
She did not complete her initial pass, but the Sub-Zero Sirens will have a power start. And it looks like they're putting number 905, the captain of the Sub-Zero Sirens, that is McCready.
22 points in that last pass. Your score now 36-0 for Les Sexpos. Of course, wearing the white for Les Sexpos, we've got number 0001, Chlamydia, number 008, Lowrider, number 086, Taro Misuzi, Number 13, Alcatraz. Number 1773, Magnum PEI. Number 27, Ghostface Killer. Number 289, Cheese Grater. Number 343, Mojo Jojo. Number 450, Tikkun. Number 53, Wonder Brat. Number 666, Sneaky Devil. Number 819, Dalila Matak. Number 86, Lady J. Number 961, Falafel La Gazelle. And 400, Little Tricky.
Very good. So far, the Sexpos during this jam have been doing a very good job at locking their defense down and holding that formation tight. The Sub-Zero Sirens have been swinging through with offense, but the Sexpos have not been letting that affect them, and they've been holding their formation long enough to actually kill that whole penalty and have La Matraque get out and collect lead jammer status.
Yeah, quick recycling from the Sexpos with their defense, and as far as their offense, their jammers really coming through with a lot of strength through those Sub-Zero formations. And we have a panty pass now to number 64 from the Sub-Zero Sirens, Celery Stalker, now the jammer of record for Queen City. And that's going to be a track cut penalty for Celery Stalker wearing the jammer star. Dalila Matak now lead jammer with 10 points on the board already this jam.
And I apologize to all of you French-speaking individuals for my terrible pronunciation. We've got... Oops.
It's a beautiful, complex language.
Yes. So La Matraque got a grand slam. She's getting some very easy passes here. The Sexpos have some very effective offense. They are definitely breaking apart the Sub-Zero Sirens and leaving their jammer to do one-on-one or two-on-one battles. And jammers are worth their weight in, or that ability to beat skaters one-on-one is really the jammer's strongest factor.
Absolutely, and that's a 19-point jam for Dalila Matak, having started in the Camp Roller Derby penalty box. Still able to cinch lead, and Sub-Zero Sirens taking a timeout. Well timed because there has been an absolute gouge of points now. 55 on the board just 6 minutes into this game for the Sexpos, none for the Queen City Sub-Zero Sirens. Of course, Toronto Roller Derby would like to give a shout out to Monster Muffin. With a studio only 30 minutes north of Toronto, you can't get much more local than this. Monster Muffin clothing is proudly made in Canada, providing quality derby apparel to the world. Check them out and fall in love at monstermuffin.com.
And this team timeout is brought to you by Roller Derby Athletics, official training partner of Toronto Roller Derby. Tord would like to thank Roller Derby Athletics for making them safe, strong, and unstoppable. For off-skate fitness training, check out their programs at rollerderbyathletics.com.
And that brings us to the end of our timeout. Sub-Zero Sirens looking to... I'm just noticing an illegal procedure being demonstrated to Libralian, the bench manager for Sub-Zero.
Yep, and that is a bench violation because there are two Sub-Zero Sirens that were standing behind the bench, and I believe since they aren't on the roster for this game, that is what gave them the bench violation penalty. So number 905, McCready, is sitting in the penalty box and serving that as a blocker, the captain of the Sub-Zero Sirens. Interesting call by the referee. It's a very good observation.
Absolutely.
So we've got double barrel jamming for the Sub-Zero Sirens, and we've got number 961, that is up Falafel de la Gazelle.
And headed to the Camp Roller Derby penalty box on a back block penalty is going to make this a power jam for the Sub-Zero Sirens. Lead jammer already established here in black.
Very good. Yeah, the first lead jam of the game for the Sub-Zero Sirens, but it is squashed right away. There was a cutting the track penalty. It seems that double barrel touched out when she fell down, and one of the Montreal blockers skated backwards. Double barrel stood right up and earned that penalty that way.
Switching spots in the Camp Roller Derby penalty box, Falafel La Gazelle returning to the track. This is going to be a 2-minute jam, which can only favor, at this point, Les Sexpos. Initial pass completed by Falafel La Gazelle.
Double barrel out of the box, pushing against the pack while Falafel La Gazelle just really makes quick work of that Queen City defense. She really manages to power through and stand up whenever those big hits go, holding upright and getting past.
A lot of chasing out the front by Sub-Zero. They come back to attempt some offense here and able to create enough confusion for Double Barrel to complete her initial pass.
And Nick Nugget swings for a big hit on Falafel Gazelle, just like a gazelle, very gallantly and very elegantly dodges that hit.
Double Barrel moving laterally, trying to pick off Les Expos. They keep recycling in front. It's that slow slog, but we do have points on the board now for Queen City. 4 fingers in the air. Another 4 points go on the board for Falafel La Gazelle.
Right as the jam runs to an end, that was a full 2-minute jam due to jammer penalties. And yeah, what was that? You already said it was 12-4, but it was good for Queen City to get some points on the board. Hopefully for them, they'll be able to catch some more tread and open this game up a little bit more, try and close that gap.
If they can take advantage of one of those power jams again, they can start to eat away at this lead. On your on your 12:34 Skateco start line, jamming for Les Sexpos number 450 Tikkun, and jamming for Queen City.
We've got Dana Skullcrusher number 51.
Some fierce pushing at the front from Tikkun. She passes the last blocker, lead jammer status to Les Sexpos, and a quick panty pass, number 027.
That's Veggie Cowgirl. She's actually a former Queen City junior skater who had just graduated this year. This is her second game as a Sub-Zero Siren and her third game playing full regulation games as an adult.
That's incredible. And showing that experience there, just keeping her absolute cool, setting herself up for that pass.
She was definitely one force to be reckoned with for the juniors, and she's proving to be just as effective on for the adults.
4 points on the board for Tikkun as Veggie Cowgirl getting recycled to the back by the pivot from Les Sexpos.
And we got 4 more points on the board for for the Sub-Zero Sirens. So the 2 jams in a row now, the Queen City Roller Girls have been able to put points on the board.
Les Sexpos perhaps underestimating Veggie Cowgirl. You know, there's a school of thought that if the star gets passed, you let the pivot run long, someone who wasn't prepared to jam, someone who wasn't fielded to jam. But Veggie Cowgirl sort of defied their expectations, forced that call off, and picked up 4 points while she was doing it.
You're absolutely right.
Number 86 for Les Sexpos, that's Lady J.
And we've got McCready, number 905, for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
That's, 086, Terror Me Susie jamming for Les Sexpos. McCready stuck in the back behind the Montreal formation. Terry Me Susie entering slowly and just sliding through on the inside of that apex, almost unchallenged. 5-point natural grants. Oh, and a late penalty there.
We've got a cutting the track penalty that is now going to be served by the Sub-Zero Sirens jammer.
And a track cut penalty also going to be served. Oh, wait, no. Sexpos jammer sitting in the box, being replaced by the Sub-Zero jammer.
Oh.
So now we're trading off. Yeah, the ref was signaling her points, and he got a yell from one of the inside pack refs saying she's headed to the box. I didn't see any signal.
Okay, what's her number? It's
086. And she finishes that pass yet again.
It looks like she got an out-of-play penalty. So I'm assuming as a jammer, that would be a blocking out-of-play. During a no-pack, she probably initiated into a blocker.
There was one last blocker out of play, and she did, it appeared, counter block and hit that jammer. It just depends sort of for those who were standing closer who initiated that contact. But
right. Because you are right, you can legally counter block if someone engages you while out of play. But yeah, the referees, they always have the best perspective, being the most mobile spectators.
We have the best perspective of Libralian's sparkly jacket, though,
yes,
standing behind the Sub-Zero bench. Terror Me Susie now with 9 points up on the board. McCready struggling with this jam. She has the star stashed. And a track cut at the end of that jam in the waning seconds. McCready heading to the Camp Roller Derby penalty box. And it's going to be a power kill start for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
Right you are. This jammer penalty trouble is it's definitely showing the strength and abilities of the Montreal Sexpos. They are definitely challenging the Sub-Zero Sirens jammers in ways that they hadn't been challenged before, and you can see them getting broken down and getting a little sloppy and making those smallest mistakes that send them to the penalty box.
With just the persistence of the Sexpos blockers recycling over and over and over again, and it's enough to really make things seem desperate. You want to take those shortcuts, and that's what sends you right to the penalty box. Lead jammer status going to Falafel La Gazelle from the Sexpos.
And yes, that is a very good point. With that constant recycle, it's like, oh, I just want to get past that one other person. And that's, yeah, when you look for those shortcuts.
Absolutely. Quick pass here for Montreal. A 5-point grand slam on the board, and McCready has returned to play.
She's winding up. She's hitting with a lot of speed. She slows down just a little bit before approaching, trying to push her way through. I see Nick Nugget, number 4, signaling for a star pass. She's tapping her pivot. But all the while...
Yeah, Nick Nugget a little too far away to receive that star, and as she gets closer, again, that recycle from Montreal. And a penalty now, a track cut to the pivot, now jammer, Nick Nugget from Queen City. All the while, points going up on the board for Les Sexpos.
My Falafel La Gazelle.
Montreal has now surpassed the century mark less than 15 minutes into this first half. 104-8, and Falafel La Gazelle still racking up the points in this jam.
Montreal is doing a very good job at rushing up quickly with that offense and then dropping back, trying to spread the pack thin and draw those Sub-Zero Sirens out of play, because as Pink mentioned earlier, they have had a tendency of chasing and running forward. So it looks like Montreal has acknowledged that and have been trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, those long packs are sort of a jammer's dream come true. If you can try not to shave off too much speed and just weave in and out, it's those slow cube and triad formations that really are punishing.
Absolutely.
Dalila Matak jamming in white for Les Sexpos.
And we've got Jules Burns for the Sub-Zero Sirens. Looks like the Sub-Zero Sirens has keyed in on their defense a little bit more in this jam, because we've got lead jammer status for the Sub-Zero Sirens, and I believe that's the first lead jammer status for them so far.
Well, second lead jammer status for Sub-Zero. They did get a quick lead jammer status, I think 3 or 4 jams in, but it was closely followed by a jammer penalty. And that is points in the air for Sub-Zero.
And Coach Libralian decides to tell her to call it off, so that's a 4-0 jam in favor of the Queen City Sub-Zero Sirens, and I bet you it feels good to them to see that little bit of hope that, you know, you can get lead, you can score those points, you can lock in on them, you know, just play the game that you need to play. Yeah.
Jules Byrne has been working hard in this jammer rotation so far, so a bit of vindication for her, picking up some more points, making use of that lead jammer status. Alcatraz, number 1-3 for Les Sexpos, jamming against number 51, Dana Skullcrusher from Queen City. Dana Skullcrusher pushing her way, keeping the pack fast.
I have to say, the Sexpos are doing a wonderful job at holding that formation. But Dana was keeping her feet moving, so she basically moved that Sexpos pack from the back to the front and eventually broke through.
Yeah. Alcatraz calls the jam, but again, a 4-point jam is still progress for the Sub-Zero Sirens, just slowing that flood of points. Right now your score 111-12, 13 minutes left in the half. Of course, your start line is sponsored by 1234 Skateco. 1234 Skateco supplies Peterborough and the surrounding area with roller derby skates and roller derby equipment. They offer skate maintenance classes, fresh meat training, and minimums testing. 1234skateco.com.
Did you announce the jam? We've got Falafel La Gazelle hit on the jammer line for the Sexpos, and we've got double barrel for the Sub-Zero Sirens. Falafel La Gazelle with a nice little tiptoe walk on the outside, just all she needed was a couple of inches, and she just tiptoed on past, collecting lead jammer status for the Sexpos. But Cheryl's out not far behind, or double barrel, that is, rather.
Double barrel, doing a really good job of keeping that pack fast and just motoring through, not letting herself slow down, not letting the Sexpos slow down in front of them. These fast packs are really working out great for Queen City.
Absolutely. And you can definitely tell when the jammers are having more success and they're dictating that pack speed, because it adds that chaos to the defense. They're moving forward instead of just holding and keeping that slow, low control. The reason why I called her Cheryl is because I know her from the league. I'm from Queen City, and it's hard to it's hard to keep it straight sometimes.
But now everyone knows her Muggle name.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, her government name is out there. Uh-oh.
Of course, at Queen City, you do double duty as a coach and referee.
Oh no, I'm a triple threat there. I announce as well. I coach the home teams, and then I announce the home teams that my team or that the Devil Dollies are not playing, and that's the team I coach for. And then I'm refereeing traveled games, and yeah, that's all three of them.
And even though your WFTDA league affiliation is with Queen City, you also play in Toronto for Toronto Men's Roller Derby.
Right, you are. Yes.
Fun fact, friends.
Yeah. I just love this stuff, guys.
All derby all the time.
So it looks like we have McCready hitting the line for the Sub-Zero Sirens, and that looks like
Tikkun, number 450 for Les Sexpos.
Each team have one skater apiece in the Camp Derby penalty box, so it's always nice to work with a little bit extra space on that track.
If it's 3-on-3, you remove the advantage. And as far as jammers are concerned, yeah, that space is easy to capitalize on. Tikkun, your lead jammer, with that huge jump out of the way.
Yeah, she was running hard on the outside line, and there were a couple Sub-Zero Sirens trying to catch her from the in, and she saw that hit coming. She read it and dodged it.
McCready going to the inside, not risking taking that line, jumping laterally, just trying to keep away from the defense, and she finishes her initial pass as a 5-point grand slam goes on the board for Montreal.
Tikkun decides to call it off at that, and that leaves the score at 118-12 with about just over 11 minutes left in the half.
We've got jamming for Les Sexpos. It's Terror Me Susie in the white. And
we've got Dana Skullcrusher, number 51, wearing for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
It's like a 4-on-4 pack right now.
Seems like Montreal has really been taking that back wall, trying to just eat up the speed and the space of those jammers so they can catch them and absorb them into their formation right away. Oh, it looks like Tara Misuzi gets sent to the box for a forearm penalty. She must have swam her way through, and that gives the Sub-Zero Sirens an opportunity. They've got 30 seconds to try and capitalize on that.
Big hit on Dana Skullcrusher on the inside there, puts her onto her back. She has stashed the star.
Therefore forfeiting the opportunity for lead jammer status to occur in this jam.
Absolutely, but makes it out of the pack. She will have a chance to score while Tara Misuzi sits it out in the Camp Roller Derby penalty box. Getting the signal from Libralian, put that back on your head.
Get those points, that's right. And there's a lot of space for Dana Skullcrusher right here with now 3 of the Sexpos blockers in the box.
Direction of gameplay, they're going to Sneaky Devil from Les Sexpos. And Tara Misuzi returns to the track, hoping to complete her initial pass. Of course, this is going to be a 2-minute jam. 5-point grand slam goes up for Dana Skullcrusher.
And a nice little stop by Nick Nugget, knocking Tara Misuzi down to the outside and cycling her back. So we've got a nice little formation here of Maggie Desad, May bringing down the house, Nick Nugget, and Chetup stand-up, working all in tandem. I believe this is the best defensive effort so far in this game for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
Certainly the best offensive as well, giving her that friendly side, Dana Skullcrusher, that friendly side to race up the inside of that straightaway. She's now on her 3rd scoring pass. If the Sirens can sort of slow Tara Misuzi down, they might be able to come ahead in this jam. We have 11 seconds left.
We've got Nick Nugget, the pivot for the Sub-Zero Sirens, dropping back, trying to do some offense, trying to clear the inside. But the Sexpos are doing a really good job of just kind of absorbing that offense and making it a part of their pack with them and using the Sub-Zero Sirens offense against their own jammer.
Yeah, and Teremi Susie doesn't hit the pack in time to score, so another 4 points on the board for Queen City. Montreal roller derby with 4 points in this jam. Queen City, their highest jam yet, with 13.
Yeah, that was very good. They took advantage of that 2-minute jam. You never know how it goes up, how those jams will end up when it's like 2 minutes, no lead. Sometimes they go back and forth, but it seemed in that jam the Queen City defense really locked in and managed to pull away.
Falafala Gazelle waiting, feeding Jules Byrne to her defense as she hits the front triad formation from Queen City. Jules lead jam to Les Sexpos.
Jules getting held up by Magnum PEI.
Oh, just a race through on the inside line from Falafala Gazelle. An easy 5-point grand slam, and Jules Byrne loses her pivot to the camp roller derby penalty box.
And it looks like Jules Burns is getting sent to the box for a forearm penalty. It appears as though she swam through a little bit. So now this is a power jam for the Montreal Sexpos. And we'll see what Falafala Gazelle does with all of this extra space and her team doing full offense.
Tumble on the inside, but she stays in bounds, races up. An attempt to recycle by number 64, Celery Stalker. Les Sexpos looking to answer that 13-point jam with a bit of a run of their own.
And Falafala Gazelle just skating a lap. There's a little bit of confusion there with really what it was like pack formation. I believe one of the Sub-Zero Sirens destroyed the pack, and we had one Sub-Zero Siren getting onto the track from the box, and while the Sexpos were dropping back, so everyone was really scattered, and that made it a very easy pass for Falafala Gazelle.
Yeah, she put up 20 points in that last jam. Your score now 142-25, just under 7 minutes left in this half.
We have 2 skaters in the Camp Derby box for the Sub-Zero Sirens, so this is a 4-2 pack advantage for the Montreal Sexpos. We got double Cheryl jamming for them for this Sub-Zero Sirens.
Dalila Matrak jamming for the Sexpos. She is your lead jammer in the white and red.
And double barrel Cheryl really just trying to muscle her way through. She is a very powerful skater. I know her from our home league, actually. She is on my home team that I coach, and she's always shown a lot of success with her strength, so it's nice to see what she does against this challenging wall. It looks like she managed to draw a multiplayer block on them from attacking those links, and she got through, stopping that bleeding a little bit more.
Yeah, just a parade of blockers into that camp roller derby penalty box. You can see what the damage is at the end of this jam, and it looks like 2 Sexpos and a Siren sitting it out. It's definitely going to change the trajectory of this next jam. 4 more points on the board for Montreal.
And there's one other Siren just making her way to the box now. She was taking the long way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 2 and 2. So I thought there was some space when there's 3-on-3 blockers, but here we go with even more space. So we'll see what McCready will do.
This is like a pickup roller derby game.
So yes, we have McCready and Alcatraz. It looks like the officials have called an official timeout. It seems like they're straightening something out amongst themselves.
Of course, this timeout brought to you by Roller Derby Athletics. Tournament MVPs will each receive certificates for the Roller Derby Athletics Stride Booster Advanced Level Training Program. $79 value each. Build next level explosive power, quickness, and agility with targeted advanced training. Designed for highly competitive athletes, athletes get access to all Stride Booster and premium content for 3 months. Extensions upon request.
So this is the first bout of the second day for the Quad City Chaos 2016, and that is a WFTDA recognized tournament. The WFTDA recognized tournaments program recognizes and supports high-quality WFTDA member-hosted tournaments worldwide.
And of course, first game of the day, our next game is going to be coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to see Royal City from Guelph, Ontario, their first and only game of the weekend, playing against Roller Derby Quebec Les Duchesses from Quebec City, who played Toronto Roller Derby and Tri-City yesterday.
Yes, and they're currently unranked team, but full WFTDA member, or have full WFTDA membership, and they really have their stuff together out there in Quebec. I don't know what it is, but they all really know how to skate, and they're one heck of a team. They should be some very good games later
Something
today.
in the water out there. Alcatraz, speaking of which, your lead jammer from Les Sexpos, McCready, having completed her initial pass. And Alcatraz hesitating, waiting to the last minute to call that jam.
It was a smart move, having the Sexpos drive the pack speed up, knowing that McCready was out and in position to score points. They're just running time off of the clock. And with a spread like this, 150 to 25, it's very advantageous to do that.
Yeah, nothing really to gain by taking those risks right now for Montreal. Better to save their energy and save their bodies.
Absolutely. As most of you may know, this is a very physically demanding sport, and longevity in this sport is something that we all want because we all love it.
Falafel La Gazelle jamming against Jules Byrne now with Sub-Zero Sirens taking the back wall. It looks like a really compact pack here. Jules Byrne just taken to one side and the other by the Montreal defense, and lead jammer goes to Falafel La Gazelle.
And Jules Byrne on one foot managing to slip by on the outside, but that quick recycling of the Montreal Sexpos, she was caught up by another skater and knocked back out, and she's got to do it all over again.
Just the decision making by the Sexpos, they change tack so quickly.
Hey, you're absolutely right about that. When they reform on the spot. When they come in for their offense, they switch and do it real quick, and they're right back to D when they need to be.
And there's that legacy of roller derby in Montreal. The new skids in the mid-teens right now in the WFTDA rankings. Queen City also have had a very successful weekend here at Quad City Chaos. Falafel La Gazelle working on her scoring pass. Jules Byrne still struggling in the back of the pack. Points number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 going up on the board for Les Sexpos. And we finally have a star stash attempt. Looks like she was meaning to stash that star and couldn't find her pivot.
She did manage to find her pivot and pass it off to number 64, Celery Stalker. Finally releasing the jammer with just 10 seconds left in this jam. We'll see if the Sexpos, well, it looks like they're just playing it slow, waiting the timeout. Oh, and they decided to call it off anyways with about 2 seconds left in that jam.
Sirens wisely moving to the front. Didn't race too far out, just set up their defense in the front. Made it not at all worth it for the Sexpos jammer to hit that pack.
So it's 165 to 25 with just about 2 minutes left in this half. We've got double barrel hitting the jammer line for the Sub-Zero Sirens. And it looks like Tekun hitting the jammer line for the Montreal Sexpos. Double barrel making a move to the outside line, trying to turn around, but she did not complete that pirouette. Tekun making her way through. She's trying to muscle up through the front. There's some good recycling on behalf of the Sirens, but not good enough because the Sexpos managed to come up with their recycle and managed to plug the defense up while effectively blocking the Sub-Zero Sirens jammer.
Yeah, a failed attempt at a toe stop spin on that outside line sent Tekun out of the track, but she was able to get in so quickly, not letting herself get drawn back at all, and she picks up a 4-point pass, hesitates, looks to her bench,
and calls it off. And yep, you could tell they're absolutely milking the clock right now. That's definitely what they're doing with that. You can see the jammer with the Sexpo with lead jammer status, pretty much keeping her eye on the Sub-Zero Sirens jammer and making sure she can call it off at the last possible moment before that Sub-Zero Siren gets close to scoring points.
Yeah, Les Sexpos again in the back wall on your 1234 Skateco start line. And interesting that the Sirens have the back wall bench. They have the bench closest to the jammer line, but it's always the Sexpos out there taking that position. Sub-Zero Sirens in the front holding back Teremi Susie for the time being. Number 51, Dana Skullcrusher, wearing the star in black for the Sirens. Lead jammer status going to Teremi Susie, and Dana Skullcrusher headed to the Camp Roller Derby penalty box on a track cut penalty. Les Expos forming on the inside of that curve.
And this is like a super power jam for Les Expos. There are 2 Sub-Zero Sirens blockers in the box. Make that 3 Sub-Zero Sirens blockers in the box, so it's pretty much 5-on-1 at the moment.
Yeah, that's the kind of situation that's hard to train for, and an illegal procedure going to the pivot from Sub-Zero Sirens.
She got an illegal re-entry. She was sent off to the box, waved back onto the track, and she entered the track in front of Les Expos blockers. Basically, when you get waved back onto the track, it needs to be treated the same way as entering the track from a penalty box, whether you have actually served that penalty or not.
Yeah, Nick Nugget having a hard time holding back Teremi Susie all on her lonesome, but luckily the Camp Roller Derby penalty box starting to empty, seeing this pack flesh out a little more. Dana Skullcrusher brought to a stop by Les Expos defense, and Teremi Susie just races up the inside.
Teremi Susie really has some speed and strength to her. She can shrug off any block that comes her way just about. And and there's some finesse right there too, with a nice little mohawk around the outside. She definitely can hit those lines real hard too. When she sees that space, she bolts for it, and she leaves little to no chance for the Sub-Zero Sirens to cover that gap.
Big chase here from Alkade Traz against Dana Skullcrusher. She exits the pack. Finally completes her initial pass. The call-off from Les Expos finishes with 28 points for Teremi Susie in that last jam, bringing your score just shy of the 200-point mark, 197 to 25 in favor of Montreal Roller Derby. This is halftime.
Yes.
So we're going to go get a snack. We're going to go look at the penalty board. And when we come back, you're going to see another 30 minutes of Roller Derby here at Quad City Chaos. I'm Pink Slaminade.
I'm Senior Wiener. And we'll see you soon. Why, hello and welcome back. We have about 2 minutes remaining in halftime. This is Senior Wiener, we're joined by the lovely Pink Slaminade.
And we're gearing up for period 2 of game 1 of day 2 of the 7th annual Quad City Chaos. And we're watching the Montreal Les Expos versus the Sub-Zero Sirens from Queen City.
The score is 197 to 25 in favor of Les Expos. And we're going to talk a little bit about penalties at the moment. For the most part, the Sexpos have been staying pretty clean. The majority of their skaters are either clean or have 1 or 2 penalties. They only have 1 skater with 3, and that is Teremi Susie.
And we saw sort of the effect those power jams had on the Sub-Zero Sirens. Almost all their scoring done in power jam scenarios, taking advantage of that chaos. But on the Sub-Zero side, Celery Stalker on 6, Nick Nugget on 5. Not a good place to be as you enter the second period.
That's absolutely right. You know, especially for Celery Stalker, 1 more mistake and she's out for the rest of the game. And you can even tell that the penalty trouble is indicative of game style. The Sexpos are playing a very slow, controlled game. They're reforming quickly with intensity, but they are staying together. The Sub-Zero Sirens, you see a lot of those penalties that they're getting from being spread out too far. You see a lot of out-of-play penalties in their favor. And then you also see a lot of cutting the track penalties from just being frustrated by the strength of the Sexpos formation.
Yeah, when you're tired and when you feel desperate, you take those risks, you cut it close. You only want your hips an inch behind the other player's hips, and if you don't time it right, you're going to end up spending a lot of time in the Camp Roller Derby penalty box.
That is correct, and it looks like we've got Dana Skullcrusher starting out for the Sub-Zero Sirens, and we've got Falafala Gazelle for Les Sexpos.
Les Sexpos again taking that back line as Dana Skullcrusher just muscles her way into the formation.
And Falafala Gazelle doing a really good job of locking in that Queen City defense on the inside, slipping off of them, jumping to the outside, and running through on that line and collecting lead jammer status. Dana Skullcrusher is not that far behind, though.
You're seeing this fast pack as the Sub-Zero Sirens race forward, kind of lull, sort of tempt the Sexpos into that fast pack formation that they love so much.
And the Sexpos are doing a really good job of holding their formation tight and keeping those two Sub-Zero Sirens behind them, allowing those easy points for their jammer. So that is a 2-0 jam in favor of Les Sexpos. Did you just say that? I thought you might have just said that.
No.
Okay, very good.
No, we're good.
Yay.
We're good. We're having a mind meld right now.
Yes.
Seems like you can hear my thoughts.
Yes.
Dalila Matrak wearing the star for Les Sexpos up against Jules Byrne from the Sub-Zero Sirens on your 12:34 skate coast start line. A very slow slog up the straightaway. Looks like a multiplayer for number 7-3.
That is right, and that broke up their formation, but it looks like we've got a forearm penalty for Dalila Matrak. Sorry.
You do a fantastic job, but I grew up here and I still can't say it properly. Jules Byrne now with a chance to cinch lead jammer status on this power jam, but Lady J just oscillating back and forth, keeping her behind her hips.
Jules Byrne's making a run for the outside line. She does manage to pass, what was that, number 86, Lady J's hips to collect lead jammer status. Oh, no, it's number 289. That is Cheese Grater. Oh, yes. So she did collect lead jammer status, but still managed to get knocked out of bounds. So she does have to start her initial pass all over again.
So working twice as hard for the same result. Your lead jammer, Jules Byrne, slogging her way through the pack while Dalila Matrak returns from the box, completes her initial fist pump in the air.
And we've got the Sub-Zero Sirens bench trying to call for Jules to call it, but I don't think she hears it. I think she's got tunnel vision right now because she's really working hard, trying so hard to get through this very tough Sexpos wall.
Yeah, Dalila Matrak sneaking through and picking up 8 points.
Actually, I believe, yep, she got 9. A grand slam on that last one, yes.
Yeah, 9 points. I mean, it's easy to forget or not realize that your lead jammer when you're recycled right away after those whistles blow. If she didn't realize that Dalila Matrak had gone to the box, she might have thought it was for her. She might have thought it was 2 penalties at once.
And you know, sometimes it's just like you don't believe that you have lead because you didn't feel like you fully cleared the track. I mean, I think that's one of those veteran things that come that higher level of awareness of knowing exactly what is happening when it is happening. So unfortunately for Jules Byrne, having lead jammer status, they still allowed 10 points to be scored by the Sexpos.
Veggie Cowgirl heads to the Camp Liberty penalty box as Alcatraz picks up lead jammer status.
While McCready, the captain of the Sub-Zero Sirens, is being held back by a full complement of Sexpos blockers. But she manages to jump to the inside and break through, take that inside line, run hard on it, and complete her initial pass. But not short after that, Alcatraz completes another scoring pass and calls the jam off.
That was some really great offense there from May Bring Down to House, just opening up that hole for her, allowing her to come through. Only 5 points for Les Sexpos in that last jam, and within the context of that game, that's a success for the Sub-Zero Sirens.
I would absolutely agree with that. And it looks like we've got double barrel jamming for the Sub-Zero Sirens against Falafala Gazelle for Les Sexpos.
Hesitant start from Falafala Gazelle, just waiting until her defense has the jammer where they want her, but having some trouble against those 2 Sirens.
Yes, Maggie Desaad and Slamuel Jackson working very well in tandem. And it looks like Maggie Desaad is trying to do some offense and trying to open things up for double barrel. We've got Veggie Cowgirl joining her, and now they're going to work together and try and block Falafala Gazelle. But to little avail, Falafala Gazelle just sprints right through the pack, putting 5 points on the board.
And
double barrel trying to break a seam, busting between Sneaky Devil and Lady J. She manages to break them apart just enough to hit that outside line and break through and complete her initial pass. We've got Chicka Demolish working solo, trying to hold Falafala Gazelle, but Falafala Gazelle was just moving too fast and too laterally to really be contained. She completes that pass, calls it off, and there's a 9-0 jam in favor of the Sexpos.
Yeah, the success of the Sirens always seems to happen when they can spread out that pack, especially on the curves where there's a little more space to move laterally to juke. The Sexpos, when they get together, are sort of an immovable object, but if you can spread them out far enough, that's where we're seeing these points or these passes completed by Sub-Zero.
Because right now at the moment it does seem like their struggle is just getting that initial pass. Either get out there first to get lead or to get out there second and stop the bleeding. We've got Jules Burns, who almost made it through on the inside line, but she gets tagged down and recycles all the way to the back. She's just playing it safe there. She's going through to the middle, but
Tai Kuhn following Jules Byrne around her own defense and then just skating up the inside line to cinch lead jammer status.
And Jules Burns really puts the accelerators on and cuts through the small space between Montreal Sexpos skaters, completing that initial pass. So once again, that is another success for the Queen City Sub-Zero Sirens in regards to, once again, the scale of this game.
Yeah, Tai Kuhn, as she realizes that the Queen City Jammer has completed her initial, just trying to flip her hips around as many blockers as possible, manages 3 points. Your score now 226 to 25. So a 201-point differential at this point.
Very good, and we've got just about 23 minutes remaining in this second period. We've got McCready on the jammer line for the Sub-Zero Sirens, and it looks like we've got Teremi Susie for Les Sexpos. The Sub-Zero Sirens are doing well defensively when they have that brace in place and when everyone's together. It's really the same exact thing that you're seeing in the back of the pack with the Sexpos. So you can see them getting stronger as the game progresses. You can see them really keying in and finding that control.
Yeah, both teams, utilizing the same strategy, but just to a different level of effectiveness here. And it's another power jam for Sub-Zero, a high block penalty going to Teremi Susie. We mentioned she had the highest penalties of any Sexpos player, and hopefully the Sirens can capitalize on this.
So we've got McCready working really hard with Nick Nugget trying to open an outside line for her. That line was open, but the Sexpos closed that up right almost immediately after. We've got Chicka Demolish coming up for some offense, trying to demolish this Sexpos wall. But to little to no avail. What I'm noticing here is that the Sexpos really roll off of that offense real quickly, or even sometimes the Queen City blockers are hitting more the braces than the bodies of the skaters. So they're almost cutting right through them, and it's having not as much effect as it should.
Yeah, and that punishing recycle, once the opposing jammer has slowed down, then the Sexpos, they can get comfortable. They're very good at holding and destroying that speed. And
it looks like Teremi Susie is getting sent to the box for another high block. There must be a really short line of the Sub-Zero Sirens for her to get 2 high blocks in the same jam. So this is effectively a full long power jam in favor of the Sub-Zero Sirens, but they are still just struggling to make that initial pass.
Yeah, lead is still open for the Sub-Zero Sirens, which is why you're not seeing a penny pass attempt here. But McCready struggling and finally completing that initial pass as the 2 minutes expire.
And you saw that offensive effort by the Sub-Zero Sirens. They were finally in sync. It was all 3 of those skaters, Chicka Demolish, Dana Skullcrusher, and May bringing down the house, making that inside line sweep all in unison, and it really worked. It worked so much more effectively than just having one person swing.
Absolutely. Of course, our start line is sponsored by 1234 Skateco, going strong since January 2012. This small company has big heart, owned and operated by Lucid Lou, a current skater with Toronto Roller Derby All-Stars. 1234 Skateco is dedicated to making girls get suited up with gear that works for them and make sure it fits properly. Lucid stands behind all her products.
And Double Barrel really smoking through on that outside line, picking up that speed. She started slow, kind of playing the Montreal Sexpos defense out, and then she just ran through. And we got a little jammer-on-jammer action with Teremi Susie out of the box with the star in her hand. But Double Barrel making a nice move on the inside line, switching, going in, going out. And she decided to call it off. Maybe she wasn't completely certain that Teremi Susie was still on her initial pass. But I know she's done that for me a few times in my home game, so it happens.
Yeah, I see the face of regret as she skates off, looking at bench coach Librali, and did I do a bad thing? Yeah, well... But you got out really quickly. You put on 5 very quick points. And I think that sort of spurned her confidence to go up against Teremi Susie, maybe hoping to draw another penalty on her.
Right, you are.
Dalila Matrak jamming against Jules Byrne on your 12:34 Skateco start line. Nice teamwork here from the Sub-Zero Sirens with the push out to the outside.
And it looks like, yeah, Rex Kittens was trying to recycle
Dalila
Matrak. But it seems that when she made contact with her, she was completely out of bounds. So she actually went to the Camp Derby penalty box for a blocking out of bounds, or an out of bounds blocking penalty.
Jules Byrne having a slow time of it against the Sexpos defense. Dalila Matrak completing her initial pass finally, getting lead jammer status.
And it looks like the Sub-Zero Sirens are bleeding out blockers currently because they just lost Dana Skullcrusher to that looks like a high block.
Hard to do offense with only one blocker on the track, and a forearm penalty being assessed against Dalila Matrak means a power jam now for Jules Byrne. This is going to go the full 2 minutes.
And we've got Rex Kitten joining the track from the penalty box, and we'll see if we can get some offense going for Jules Burns. But it looks like Cheese Grater knocked her out and cycled her back.
Forearm penalty against one of the Montreal blockers here. With Jules Byrne, you can see sort of the energy being sapped. This is a long jam.
Long jam and a long fight. Yes.
It's not taking much to take her over the line at this point. And she finally completes her initial pass with 20 seconds left in the jam. Dalila Matrak returning from the Camp Roller Derby penalty box just behind the pack.
Jules Burns trying to tiptoe around on the outside, and it looks like Cheese Grater, or Fromage, as her jersey says, gets sent to the box for a directional gameplay penalty. Jules Burns collected 2 points for the Sub-Zero Sirens as a 4-2 jam in favor of Montreal after all was said and done. The score is 230-32, and there are about 17 minutes and 39 seconds left. And
Les Sexpos calling a timeout to try and assess sort of the franticness that we just saw, doing a little bit of roller derby yoga here with the deep breaths in and out. Of course, our penalty box that's seen so much traffic in the last few jams is sponsored by Camp Roller Derby. Roller Derby goes to camp. Gather for a fun, nostalgic back-to-basics camp weekend with skaters, officials, and organizers from derby leagues across Ontario. This weekend will foster both structured and casual opportunities for brainstorming, idea sharing, and cooperation, mixed with complimentary off-skates activity taking place in the picturesque Camp Eden Woods in Haliburton, August 19th to 21st. Find them online before the early bird offer ends, March 31st, camprollerderby.ca.
And it looks like we've got McCready getting ready to jam for the Sub-Zero Sirens, followed by Alcatraz for the Les Sexpos.
A pivot line start here, I think, for the first time this game, and Montreal choosing to take the front in a change of pace.
Yes, yeah, this is everything's topsy-turvy for this start.
They're like, now for something completely different.
Yes. So I like the pivot line starts because it gives jammers a little bit extra speed to come back up. But if the walls have that stopping force, it can bring it to a halt right away. So it all depends on what the jammer does with that momentum.
Yeah, a blocker who can move, who can juke, move laterally, adapt, be agile. It works for them, but
it looks like Alcatraz hit the pack with a little too much speed and got a back block penalty for that. That's the only problem with the speed is you got to have the control and accuracy with what you are targeting with your body.
So McCready able to pick up lead jammer status in the confusion. Sub-Zero Sirens waiting in the wings to do offense, and a big re-entry from McCready.
Yep, she hit that pack with a lot of speed. From this angle, it looked like a back block, but the jammer referee was right there in front of it all, so I trust his judgment on that.
He's in charge. We just work here.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like a track cut penalty by McCready. She was trying to tiptoe on that inside line. She touched out and came in front. So now is a power jam in favor of Les Sexpos as Alcatraz gets out of the box and through the pack and is in position to score. This will be a full 2-minute jam, and we'll see what develops as Alcatraz hits.
Similar scene here with the Sexpos lining up, waiting to sweep, and they do. Alcatraz wearing the C for Les Sexpos, picking up 5 points. Cheese Grater just bolting out of the Camp Roller Derby penalty box.
Coming in and charging that inside line. Chickadee Mollis keeping that inside line closed, but the middle of the track was still wide open, and Alcatraz managed to put 5 more points on the board for the Sexpos.
Yeah, 4 Sub-Zero blockers standing in the front and just being stalked by the Montreal skaters in white.
And Cheese Grater just causing some havoc out there, knocking Slamuel Jackson around. And McCready out of the box is met by, who is that, number 27? That is Ghostface Killer. Held back just enough, but before getting sent to the box, I know she got some points, and there's 5 points on the board for the Queen City Roller Girls. I'm not completely certain whether she gathered all those points before going to the box or after, or maybe a combination of the two.
Doesn't matter. Got points.
Yep, the points are there. That's what matters the most. So it was a 15-5 jam in favor of Montreal. The score is 245-37. We're just about halfway through the second half.
Sub-Zero sticking to that 12:34 Skako start line. We've got number 816, Double Barrel jamming against Falafala Gazelle.
Double Barrel really trying to muscle her way through, moving out, moving in, and she goes in. But Falafala Gazelle does get lead jammer status first. Double Barrel trying to take that outside line and manages to do so successfully. So we've got lead jammer in favor of the Sexpos with Double Barrel breathing down Falafala Gazelle's neck.
Yeah, nice use of those levels by Double Barrel with that vertical jump, just trying to avoid those hits, because when the Sexpos have you in their sights, they can take you so far off the track. So just playing a little conservatively, hopping up, able to keep her on her skates long enough to complete that initial pass. Really good work.
We've got Jules Byrne jamming for the Sub-Zero Sirens and Tycoon for Les Sexpos.
Huge pack advantage here to the Sirens. I'm only seeing one Sexpo blocker on the track, quickly joined by her partner Ghostface Killer.
Jules Burns trying to run on that outside line but gets bumped out. Tycoon running through the inside line does not get slowed down and collects lead jammer status.
And some nice offensive work from number 505, Chicken Demolish, trying to stop that recycle. Some really aggressive blocking.
Jules Burns makes it out, but she has Ghostface Killer chasing her down. But Ghostface Killer goes out of play and has to let her go. Tycoon decides to call the jam off, but it's still a 5-0 jam in favor of Montreal.
Montreal not seeing quite as much momentum in the second half as they did in the first. The Sub-Zero Sirens doing a really good job, even though they're tired, even though they're trailing, to kind of come back with a lot of force from the change room. Your 12:34 Keiko start line populated now by McCready from the Sub-Zero Sirens and Alcatraz from Les Sexpos.
Alcatraz trying to muscle her way through the inside line, and then moves, bounces to the out and back in. See that lateral movement that she's doing? She's shaking left and right and really breaking up that Sub-Zero Sirens formation. They're moving a little too much, and they're overriding it, and it looks like while all that chaos was happening, while Alcatraz was acquiring lead jammer status, McCready gets sent to the box for a track-cutting penalty.
La Super Jam for Les Sexpos now. Alcatraz.
Ooh, big hit by Brutalities, nailing her down on the inside.
Really good work now with only, looks like 3 Sub-Zero blockers on the track. Still some admirable defense here.
And a wonderful offensive swing by Teremi Susie.
5 points go up on the board for Alcatraz. Teremi Susie perhaps blocking now because of that penalty run. She's on 5 already.
And she's wearing the pivot, though, so she's there for backup just in case they need it. And Alcatraz taking advantage. You leave her an inch and she'll take a mile. All she needs is very little space on that inside or outside line she manages to go through. McCready getting held up by Chlamydia. Chlamydia recycling back up front after she gets lost by McCready, and it looks like just this, as we talked about before, just this recycling, this reformation of Montreal. It's hard to keep track of who was where when.
Yeah, it's you never want to be held back by Chlamydia, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But an easy 5-point grand slam going to the jammer from Les Sexpos. Actually, the pivot right now is actually low rider, not Teremi Susie as we originally believed.
As I had flubbed. Thank you for correcting that.
That's all right. Trying to read French at 50 paces. It's not easy.
And McCready doing a good job of splitting between the Sexpos and getting out, completing that initial pass. Alcatraz does decide to call it off. And is that an official timeout? So the clock is stopped at 10 minutes and 58 seconds. The score is 275-37. That was a 24-point jam in favor of the Sexpos.
Of course, this timeout is brought to you by Roller Derby Athletics, official training partner of Toronto Roller Derby. Tord would like to thank Roller Derby Athletics for making them safe, strong, and unstoppable. For off-skates fitness training, check out their programs at rollerderbyathletics.com.
So I'd like to talk a little bit more about WFTDA recognized tournaments. One great thing about having this tournament recognition system out there is that we can allow for various tournament structures, but the recognized tournament program establishes a consistent standard for tournament officiating and games management. So I love that it's basically like WFTDA endorsement saying with this suits the similar standards that we would have for our divisional playoffs, which always have, as you would expect, the highest standards for officiating and games management.
Well, and the WFTDA in recognizing these tournaments, gets to put a spotlight on these sort of pre-season run for the rankings that come out July 15th. So when you turn into WFTDA.tv to watch playoffs, to watch championships, this is where the chips fall. This is where everyone gets sorted out. So you can go online to WFTDA.com/events to see if there's recognized tournaments near you or when you can watch them online.
Very good. And I was talking with one of the tech guys with the broadcast group earlier, and he was telling me about this amazing function with the stream that we have actually going on today. In the top right corner, there's like an I button that you can actually click on, and there's like a little card that'll slide down. And if you click on that card, it'll open up a link, and it'll show the rosters of the teams that are playing. And it even has an option to donate to like Toronto Roller Derby, because our broadcast system is we staff our broadcast system with about as many individuals as skaters are required to play a roller derby game. And we do it all pro bono here, and any donations and anything going our way would be greatly appreciated. The
donation actually doesn't go to Toronto Roller Derby. It goes to Layer 9, run by Mr. Force, who actually broadcasts all of these games free of charge, films, edits, archives, and he does it all out of the goodness of his heart. So if you're watching from home, you saved on your ticket price, maybe throw him a bone, buy him a coffee.
Right on. And thank you for being the left arm to my right side.
It's no problem at all. And you will also have no problem at all if you have Roller Bones Turbos plus Bone Swiss bearings, because they make for a winning combination. Rollerbones.com. This official timeout, really a marathon of an affair here, but we're going to get a word from our alt-ref Joe the Locksmith on what's going on. While he's doing that, I just want to tell you that Roller Sports Canada provides insurance and support for all Canadian roller sports. Visit them at rollersports.ca or on Facebook at RSCRC Roller Derby on the Facebook. And you can also catch us on the Facebook, Toronto Roller Derby, or you can tweet or Instagram us at hashtag QCC2016.
So I got a little bit of an update from Joe the Locksmith, alternate ref for this game. One thing that they are establishing at the moment is there is a foul out. Number 64, Celery Stalker of the Sub-Zero Sirens, had served her seventh and final penalty of the match. And also there is an issue with rosters, a very interesting issue. There's something was brought up, and there's reason to believe that one skater for the Sub-Zero Sirens may not have actually been put on the official roster for this game. So what they are doing is they're just they're checking the paperwork to make sure that it was like either a clerical error or if they actually put a skater on the track in gear without actually having them on the roster. If that were the case, then the Sub-Zero Sirens captain would serve a penalty, and it would be a bench violation penalty, not too dissimilar, in fact exactly the same as a penalty that they had served earlier in the game for having skaters standing behind the bench.
Absolutely scandalous. Well, we'll see if we can sort this out. Celery Stalker, props to her for lasting, almost 20 minutes into the second half, having started with 6 penalties. So that's a lot of control to sort of lock that down, having come back with 6 penalties and being able to last this long until getting your 7th.
Okay, so in update, there was the resolution was that they had not found any like information that shows that they like snuck someone on or anything like that. So they're just going to continue this game as usual. There's no paperwork showing that that person was not on the roster, and so it seems, yes, the Sub-Zero Sirens captain will not be serving a penalty, and everything will continue. So that question that was brought up by whomever it was basically given the short answer of no, that's not how it is.
I mean, that's an interesting choice by Montreal, and I mean, that's the experience. They've done their homework, not successful in that official review, so they will not retain the review.
Well, actually, it wasn't even a review, so I'm uncertain as to exactly how that was brought up.
Oh, who it was prompted by?
Yes.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Yes, right?
So right now, we're just waiting for things to get sorted out. We are not going to see Celery Stalker for the last 11 minutes of this game. Skaters, of course, keeping their feet moving, trying to stay warm. And I mean, a great time, too, to thank the officials who make sure that this game goes off without a hitch. Our NSOs, our referees, many of whom are 3, 4, 5 certified referees.
Absolutely, yes. There are lots of levels up here. Actually, they only have one level 2 skating official. Everyone else is either 3 or up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would like to thank the officials for putting this whole tournament on. I mean, Parking Lot, the tournament head official of this year, he did a wonderful job at staffing. I feel like the level of officiating here is top notch, and they've been able to do this sport justice and put these games on the way that the rules have shown it to be played.
Absolutely, and that's we have seen so far in this game and almost all day yesterday a lot of traffic in and out of that Camp Roller Derby penalty box, but that's what happens when you have 7 eagle-eyed referees with their eyes on the game.
So I want to talk about Nerd Roller Skates. Nerd Roller Skates is your dedicated roller skate shop with everything you need for derby, rink, or park. Visit them online at www.nerdskates.com, offering free shipping in Canada on orders over $150. Nerd Roller Skates for people who roll.
Of course, that's Canadian dollars. So like 7 American dollars. You must have a field day coming up here for TMRD practice, for QCC.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh.
Please bring your beautiful Yankee money.
Whenever I go home with a loonie in my pocket, I'm like, Canadians say they got rid of their pennies, but to me, that's basically it's basically a glorified penny.
Oh no, it's funny because it's true.
It's sad.
It's sad, and now I'm sad. And Cheese Grater taking a tumble behind the bench here, just trying to keep her muscles active as we go into the 8th minute of this official timeout. But again, officials being very good all this week, and I haven't seen a lot of official timeouts. I haven't seen a lot of corrections. They are running a very tight ship here, but it's early in the morning, and we want to make sure everyone's staying honest.
And yep, maybe the last answer I gave you about the situation is not the final answer, because it still does look like the officials are conferring in the middle. The alternate referee is writing notes down, so we will have more information for you in a few moments.
High 5 push-ups on the bench here between, looks like, Lady J and Cheese Grater. Just trying to stay sharp, but if you want to stay sharp, you should check out Wicked Skatewear, because they love to make you look and feel fabulous. Also, they love glitter and neon, a lot of neon. Visit wickedskatewear.com to experience the shenanigans. And of course, they gave away a $25 gift certificate or $50 gift certificate yesterday during halftime of the last game. So thank you to Wicked Skatewear for that.
Yes, and I believe it was a $50 certificate.
All right, we're getting another word here from Joe the Locksmith on an update for this timeout. Of course, your score, just to remind, is 275-37. It looks like, looking at the board, this has turned into an official review for Montreal Roller Derby. So perhaps they've brought something else up. I just noticed, Sweeney, that it turned into an official review on our scoreboard here for Montreal.
And that's what I've got for you. So after they were straightening out that paperwork, White decided to call an official review. They actually wanted to request a warning to the Blacks team, the Sub-Zero Sirens. They believe that they deserved a warning for high block, for lots of high blocks. They felt like there were a lot of them occurring, and that the referees were required to issue a warning. The referees had decided that that they haven't been doing anything particularly out of the ordinary, and they weren't fishing for high blocks. So Sexpos do not retain their review. No warning was issued, and play continues.
Play continues with Falafala Gazelle earning lead jammer status for Les Sexpos, and it looks like
double barrel. And as we were saying before, the Sub-Zero Sirens have gotten much better at breaking that initial pass and preventing the Sexpos from getting multiple scoring passes on them. They have been limiting them to 1 or 2 scoring passes when they have full strength. The penalty trouble is a whole nother story.
Well, and our score going into halftime for Montreal was, I think, 198, 199, somewhere in that range. And right now it's only 278, so we've only put up about 80 points in the second half versus the 200 some they earned in the first half. That's really speaks to the Sub-Zero Sirens' ability to keep their cool and to be able to play their game even when they are outmatched. Very good, yes.
To adapt, move forward, and find those strengths, get those individual victories. Because in a game like this, the overall victory is not necessarily in the books, but there are so many individual victories you can make that'll strengthen the team and help you move forward with.
Dalila Matrak earning lead jammer status as the Sub-Zero Siren 138 Mary Bring Down to House heads to the Camp Roller Derby penalty box with a multiplayer. McCready still working on her initial pass as Dalila Matrak picks up a 5-point natural grand slam.
And we've got McCready still being held up in the back. She, with a nice little razzle-dazzle, a little whipsy-doodle, I'd say. She does a pirouette around, but that very fast recycling of the Montreal skaters, they got that formation right in front. But McCready bursts through and completes that initial pass.
Another 5-point pickup by Dalila Matrak, and again, it looks like she's going to hesitate.
No, this is long points, it looks like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for the first time of the game, Montreal's going for long points. They're noticing how much McCready was struggling, and it paid off for them. La Matrak did get a 5-point grand slam on that pass, and it was a very easy pass.
Whipsy doodle indeed. Dalila Matrak working on her 4th scoring pass now, and McCready losing that momentum we saw in the first pass. A 5-point grand slam goes on the board for Montreal, while number 8 heads to the Camp Roller Derby penalty box.
We got the Sirens trying to do a little bit of offense on the Sexpos, but the Sexpos, they do such a good job of just ignoring that offense. Like, to them, it seems like they pay no mind.
Yeah, they're able to keep their eye on the prize, so to speak, and not to be able to shake off that offense while not losing sight of that jammer. And McCready showing a bit of exhaustion here as she's having a really hard time with this jam. Another 3 points go on for Les Sexpos, making it a 28-point jam for Dalila Matrak.
I mean, Montreal Roller Derby really does have a wonderful training system in place. I mean, this is their B team, and it's even featuring 2 skaters that have appeared on the Sexpos. At least 2 that I recognize. There may or may not have been more, but I know Cheese Grater and Alcatraz have both skated on the skids, that is.
Magnum PEI, I believe, as well.
Very good. Thank you for that.
And our score now 306-40, 7.5 minutes left in the game. Jules Byrne facing off against Alcatraz from Les Sexpos.
And in that last jam, number 4, Nick Nugget, had served her 7th trip, her 7th and final penalty. So she has fouled out as well. So those 2 Sub-Zero Siren skaters that we reported to you at the half are now both out of the game.
Alcatraz working on her first scoring pass, now having cinched lead jammer status. She gets a natural 5-point grand slam. Well, Jules Byrne still struggling to get past that really tough defense.
And I'm looking at the penalty board right now. It actually looks like there are 2 Sub-Zero Sirens that are very close to fouling out themselves. We've got number 73, Rex Kitten, and number 8, Slamuel Jackson.
And as we say that, a track cut penalty being assessed against Jules Byrne, the jammer, is going to turn this into a power jam for Alcatraz and Les Sexpos.
The Sub-Zero Sirens, though, gathering together up front while the Sexpos decide to swoop in and break them all apart, making for an easier pass for Alcatraz.
Yeah, another 5 points in the air, bringing her score so far to 15. And you can see Magnum PEI sort of waiting in the wings. The Sub-Zero Sirens see her there and forces them to move forward to escape that offense.
And Alcatraz, what a strong jammer she is. She just keeps her feet moving. She shrugs off all those hits, and that's helping to add to that I would say confusion with the Sub-Zero Sirens blockers. And when I say confusion, I mean they are broken apart and they're not together and they're not holding their own as well because of that fast movement and the strong contact of Alcatraz.
And the penalties too add to that confusion when you're hearing the whistle and when people are just dropping out of your formation seemingly for no reason. It's hard to be able to keep your cool when you're losing your teammates to the penalty box.
That is absolutely right. Yep. With more space on the track, there's more space that the individuals have to cover, and their moves may have a little bit more desperation in them, and that's when you get a little more sloppy and can tend to fill the box a bit.
A 25-point jam for Alcatraz, and here we see Falafel La Gazelle on your 12:34 skate coast start line, facing off against, is it Double Barrel?
Yes, that is.
Yes, it is.
And Double Barrel charging through. Woohoo! Everyone's excited here. That is lead jammer status for the Sub-Zero Sirens. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's the first time of this half.
I think you might be right here. It's I sort of lost track of the day after that long official timeout, but
yes.
A 0-all jam again. Like we said, a success in this context for the Sub-Zero Sirens. And a really good way to sort of cap off this game as we have just over 4 minutes left in play. Tycoon wearing the star for Les Sexpos on your 12:34 skate coast start line against McCready, number 905 for the Sub-Zero Sirens from Queen City, Buffalo, New York.
Oh, and Tycoon gets hit hard by Veggie Cowgirl, but she gets called on a direction of gameplay penalty, getting sent to the box, thinning that pack out a little bit more for Queen City, allowing Tycoon the opportunity to collect lead jammer status. We have McCready, who is trying to push through. She gets tagged on the outside, and she comes back in way behind everyone just to be extra certain. And that time she came in a little bit shy, and she got a track cutting penalty. So that is now a power jam in favor of Les Sexpos. And
that is McCready's 6th penalties. That is 6 power jams she has relinquished to Les Sexpos. And again, looking at this board, we have number 9 as well on number 8, Samuel Jackson. A very difficult game for the Sub-Zero Sirens, but able to stem the flow quite a bit in this second half.
Oh wow! It looks like they actually have 4 people that are one penalty away from being fouled out, and that is Dana Skullcrusher, Rex Kitten, Slamuel Jackson, and McCready. 15
points so far this jam for Tycoon. And we see McCready return from the Camper Litter Beat penalty box, getting recycled way back.
And Chickadee Molish knocking Tycoon out on the inside and recycling her way back. So the packs are playing a little bit of leapfrog. McCready trying to spin around, and she just barely touches out. And looks like she gets recycled all the way back too. And Tycoon gets sent for a back block. So we're just flip-flopping packs. We're flip-flopping power jams. This has been... there's been lots of razzle-dazzle.
It's messed up. Everything is messed up right now. Sub-Zero Sirens trying to offer that offense to McCready as she just whispers so gently into that pack. It has been a punishing game for Queen City. No points in that jam for McCready. Another 4 go on the board for Tycoon's last pass, and she will start this next jam in your Camp Roller Derby penalty box. 19-point jam brings your score 350-40, 310 points separating these teams.
And it looks like we've got Jules Byrne hitting the line for the Sub-Zero Sirens. The Sub-Zero Sirens do have 1 blocker in the Camp Derby box, so there is a pack advantage in favor of the Sexpos. But all of the Sub-Zero Sirens are doing offense right now, so let's see what we can do with that. Up there, down one more blocker for a direction, a gameplay penalty. They were doing offense from the front, but skating backwards, making contact into the Sexpos.
And Ty Kuhn is going to cinch lead jammer status right out of the Camp Roller Derby penalty box. That has got to be frustrating for Jules Byrne, who is wedged into that Sexpos wall. She finally completes her initial pass, looking to catch up, force the call off again. Ty Kuhn getting slowed on the inside by number 140.
And Jules Byrne, when she hit that outside line and saw the light at the end of the tunnel, I've seen it. Oh, she skated so hard and so fast you could see her just running for the freedom. It was you could see the wind blowing in her hair and all of that.
You take the small victories where you can get them. And we have 35 seconds left of period time. This is going to be our last jam of the game. Game 1 of Day 2 of Quad City Chaos.
And the teams competing in this weekend's event are working to boost their rankings and qualify for the 2016 International WFTDA Playoffs and Championships this fall. We have a couple B-team games today, so those do not apply to rankings. But here we go. We've got double barrel Cheryl. She was just on fire breaking through, though, after to complete that initial pass. But we do still have lead jammer status for...
Falafala Gazelle.
Thank you.
Is your lead jammer. I noticed some confusion. It looks like her jammer ref called a penalty for another skater, or a nearby ref did, because I saw the confusion on her face. Like, am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Am I in trouble?
And that is our unofficial final right now, as Montreal put 4 more points on the board at the end of when that was all said and done. So it's 358-240.
So, a huge victory for Les Expos. There's no other way around it. But the roller derby, the Sub-Zero Sirens from Queen City, holding their own. They had a rough game, especially a rough first half. But to be able to come back from the change room and say, yeah, we're behind. We're probably going to lose this game. What can we do to sort of assuage that and just minimize the impact that it has to us?
Yeah, very good. And this was the biggest challenge that the Sub-Zero Sirens have faced so far this year. They have had an undefeated record up and until now. And from a development standpoint, I mean, that's what the B teams are around for. So this is exactly what all of these skaters needed to really help them find what they need to do to push to that next level. Because once they find that, there will be 2 more levels past it.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's why we have the B teams here at Quad City Chaos. These are some of the skaters who you're going to come to know and love in the WFTDA charter teams. These are the playoff phenoms of years to come. And even you see with the junior skaters aging up, you're seeing the evolution of the sport right in front of your eyes.
Yes, absolutely. Development.
So coming up next, today is going to be the Royal City Bootleggers from Guelph, Ontario, facing off against Les Duchesses from Roller Derby Quebec. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And you're going to see the Queen City Sub-Zero Sirens yet again against the Toronto Roller Derby All-Stars B Squad. And again at 5 o'clock, Toronto Roller Derby All-Stars A Squad against Tri-City. And
I think all those games are going to be wonderful to watch. I mean, Roller Derby Quebec is unranked, and they're just coming up out of nowhere. They have lots of surprises. Royal City, they just were ranked last year, and they've been winning a lot of games, and they've been catching a lot of steam, so they've been doing very well for themselves. I mean, actually, the Tord B team had a very similar result against Montreal yesterday. Maybe not exactly the same, but it was similar. So I feel like the Sub-Zero Sirens matchup against them will be a tight game. And then Tord and Tri-City, I mean, they've been going at it against each other for a little bit now, and I think that will be a very good game for our headliner tonight. That's a long relationship there. Well, I am Pink's Lemonade. This is I'm Senior Wiener. Go get yourself a snack. Press donate, buy Mr. Forrest a snack, and we will see you back here at 1 o'clock. Sounds great.